Hey guys, Auspicious Ozzy here and welcome to another Manchester United episode. This is of course the end of season review where I will go over the fixtures. But first of all, as you can see the league table, we currently sit third at the end of the season. We do qualify automatically for the Champions League group stage for next season, but we did finish 10 points off the leaders, which were Chelsea, 6 points off Arsenal in second place as well. But we did beat our cross-town rivals Manchester City by a comfortable 11 points, despite losing to them fairly late on in the league as well, which I'll go over in a second. But this is the league table and how it sat. We got 73 points, 21 victories, 10 draws, and 7 losses, which is pretty much why we didn't actually, contend till the end with the league. Obviously, our plus 23 goal difference was pretty poor. We scored as many as Arsenal, but we conceded a lot more than both the teams above us as well. We actually scored and conceded around the same amount of goals as Man City, so that's why it was a little bit disappointing. The Europa League spots went to Everton and Tottenham respectively, with Liverpool coming seventh, so that's pretty good from a Manchester United perspective. The three teams that were relegated were West Brom, Hull, and Sunderland. So yeah, I was about to say all three promoted clubs stay up, but they actually don't because Hull is one of those teams. And let's get into the fixtures. We've got quite a few to get through. We've got to go from the mid-season review, which was just before the Chelsea game, right here. As you can see, we actually lost to Chelsea, who obviously won the league quite comfortably. And yeah, we lost 4-1 away from home at Stamford Bridge. And as you can see, they scored a couple of early goals. And then, yeah, Hazard, Eto'o, Ramirez, and Luiz. And then Everett got sent off, and for some reason we managed to score a goal after that. So, a little bit weird. I hate it when this happens. Alright, hopefully if I click here it won't move. A 5-1 victory against Aston Villa was up next. Jones, Mata, Nani, Fellaini penalty, and Van Persie on the score sheet for us. They did equal the scoring after that Jones goal with Benteke, but we absolutely romped them after that. And yeah, pretty disappointing for an Aston Villa fan's perspective, I guess. Oh, this is really annoying. I'm just going to do this quickly. We then beat Arsenal 4-2 away from home at the Emirates. And as you can see, goals coming from Fellaini, 2 from Carrick and 1 from Juan Mata. Then came the first knockout round leg against Barcelona, which was at Old Trafford, and we actually managed to beat them 3-1. Wayne Rooney with a brace and Januzaj also on the score sheet. We followed that up with another 3-0 victory at home, Kagawa and a Welbeck brace that time. We then went on a really disappointing run of results, a 2-1 loss to Norwich away from home, with Januzaj picking up the only goal in that game, before losing 5-2 at the Camp Nou to Barcelona, which obviously knocked us out of the Champions League. Our goals coming from Vidic and Hernandez, with Rafael getting sent off, which is pretty much the reason why we actually lost that game. Next up was a 3-1 home loss to, relegation contenders Crystal Palace. I mean, if you just go through and look at those ratings, you got Butner on a 4.9, Januzaj on a 5.2. Everett did manage to get us a goal, so that's, I mean, yeah, the less said about that game, the better. We also managed to lose to West Ham 2-1 away from home. Not the worst result in the world. Juan Mata getting our only goal there. But again, Vidic and Evans picking up 6.5 each in the centre of our defence is always going to cost us a few goals. We bounced back against Newcastle with a 2-2 home draw. Welbeck and Rooney, our strikers, getting the goals in that one. Before we managed to bounce back against Everton with a 1-0 home away victory. 1-0 away home away victory. That was a horrible way to put it. A 1-0 away victory with Hernandez getting the only goal in that one and keeping a clean sheet for the first time in many games. About 6 games. Yeah, about 5 games. We then backed that up with a 1-0 home victory, again with another clean sheet, despite Everett getting sent off, Welbeck picking up the goal in that game. We then managed to beat Fulham 1-0 again, this time coming at home again as well. Hernandez in some somewhat decent form, and obviously our defence playing very well with Phil Jones and Johnny Evans there. 3 clean sheets on the trot before a disappointing 3-3 draw against West Brom, which we actually did lead 3-1 for most of the game. And then obviously Fellaini got sent off. Despite having a fairly good game, he got sent off, and then basically West Brom scored 2 goals fairly late on. And yeah, Welbeck, Hernandez, and Januzaj scoring our goals there. We did get back to winning ways with another 1-0 home victory, this time coming against Tottenham. De Gea starred, and so did Butner, scoring the only goal in the game. We then lost the Manchester derby against Manchester City, of course. 2-1 loss away from home, so, you know, not the worst result in the world, but you really like to beat, your crosstown rivals. Vidic, in pretty much his last game, actually it was his last game for the club because he is leaving on a free transfer, managed to get the goal there, but it wasn't enough. And the final game of the season I played was against Sunderland at home, basically a nothing match, and yeah, I played a few youngsters. We did win 3-1, goals coming from youngster Omar Rowe, Phil Jones, and Robin Van Persie. So yeah, that is basically the fixtures rounded up completely. We do have Thomas Jepsen, the 16-year-old Danish centre-back, coming in to replace Vidic. So hopefully I can give him a bit of game time next season. He will probably start in the under 18s. Is it 18s or 19s? I have no idea. 19s? 18s. Okay, so he'll probably start there. I might look to give him a few cup games coming off the bench or something like that. Perhaps. I'm not exactly sure. I would also like to, give Boljevic quite a bit of game time next season as well, as he'll actually be too old for the under-18s, and I'm not a massive fan of the reserve teams. But anyway, that is basically it. Not a horrible first season. Obviously, some of the United players are pretty average, so I'm going to look to try and ship a lot of them out. Sorry, players like Cleverley. Who else? I want to get rid of Evra because he's very temperamental. Let me just have a look at some of the ratings. May as well go through some ratings. Obviously, the top performer was Juan Mata in his first season here. Raphael actually played very well as well, which is interesting because I didn't actually rate him that highly. I know Phil Jones had a fairly outstanding season, playing both in midfield and in defence. De Gea, Evans, so pretty much the whole defence played quite well. I'm also surprised to see Carrick underneath Fellaini there. I think that's a little bit interesting. Fellaini playing the ball winner in my tactic as well. So yeah, I mean, positive signs. We did come third. We are into the Champions League group stage for next season straight away. And hopefully we get a decent transfer budget. I can get, rid of a few of those fringe players that are, quite poor. That also take up a lot of wages. I also might look to either to sell Van Persie or Wayne Rooney. One of the two. They're both on huge wages, and, I think Rooney's contract runs out at the end of next season, and he'll probably want, something crazy like another, 70k added onto his wages, which I'm just not really prepared to play, because he barely played this season. I think he played, 16 games or something. Let me just have a look here. Van Persie was horrible. He barely played as well. Wayne Rooney, he played 13 starts, 9 subs, and he only managed 4 goals. But I did try and play him as a left winger, which was probably a mistake. So yeah, that is basically it for this episode, guys. Hopefully you join me back for the pre-season episode, which will be episode 5. And yeah, take it easy, guys. Goodbye.